This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Grumpy Coffee, the best coffee in all the land. It's coffee that turns your frown upside down. Head to grumpycoffee.com.au. Grab one of our blends today. We've got a decaf blend. We've got a very grumpy blend, a darker roast. We've also got an everyday blend that people are absolutely loving. We've got pods. We've got it all. So head to grumpycoffee.com.au and grab yours today online. And as usual, let's get straight into it, shall we? And try to turn a few frowns upside down.
Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. I'm here with the man, Scotty Sorensen. How you going, brother?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me on, man.
Mate, very good to have you. Very good to have you. And I want to just let people know we're actually technically Shire brothers. Myself, and now a Shire
country.
person. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say God's country, being a Gold Coast man myself. But I would say the level, it's like purgatory, but it's like the level before God's country.
Yeah, right.
So we've got Gold Coast at the top,
yeah,
and then Shire just below. I know you probably don't agree with that.
Gold Coast is a good spot too. So.
Mate, I almost feel like when you speak to the Penny Panthers boys and you say like, what a year, it's like, what a friggin' 3 or 4 years. Like every single year you guys obviously have won for the last 4 years have obviously won the premiership, but like, what is it like coming into your fourth premiership? You win it. Like that feeling, do you ever get used to it? You know what I mean? And the fourth off season that you've just won a premiership.
That was a big question. It's been unreal. Like, yeah, such a ride, and loved every single moment of it. It's a very special place to be at the moment, and I'm personally absolutely loving it. And I'm sure, ask any of the boys, as you said, absolutely loving it at the moment. But, it's sort of like any year you start fresh, you go through your pre-season, you're into the year, and you just want to win the comp. Yeah. And it just hasn't changed out there. We're no different to any other team. So, the end goal, the end prize is to win the comp, and we've been lucky enough to do it for a few years now.
And so how's it been for yourself? How's the body feeling? No surgeries or anything like that this year? No,
touch wood, mate. No,
yep.
I'm actually in pretty good nick, like obviously during the year, and had a few soft tissue injuries and that sort of stuff. But other than that, I'm in pretty good shape.
Mate, it's one of those things where as you get a little bit older, if you can just get through the year without a reconstruction somewhere, you're winning. You're winning
crazy.
The battle.
Yeah, that's right, mate. It was just, the physicality of the game and how fast it's moving at the moment and all that sort of stuff. So, very lucky.
And, mate, you made your debut in 2014. So you've seen the full gambit, like in regards to probably 14 onwards, the game almost like not really slowed down. It was still a fast game, but like the wrestle almost got to a climax where it was like just every tackle was being slowed down. And then you've seen all the flip side of it in 2021 where like the game just went like Super Saiyan speed.
Yeah.
I guess how much faster is the game today than when you first came into it, first grade, do you reckon?
This is a good question, man. It's obviously so much quicker now, like crazy fast. Definitely has changed a lot in that regard. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's the way the game's evolved.
Yep.
And then obviously rule changes as well, and all that sort of stuff. So you got to take that into account. But yeah, it has changed a fair bit. But I don't know. I feel like I'm like retired now or something speaking about the game like that. But it's definitely got fast. That's all I can really sort of think on the top of my head, and but it's entertaining, and I love it as well.
What was that first year like when the six again came in? Because that just like it truly changed almost the fabric of the game to a degree.
Yeah, very much so. It's it's funny too because obviously they go six again and that sort of stuff, and you're kind of like, who did that? I'll speak to them at halftime after the game, whatever. And then you feel that guilty when you give one away as well because the boys are sort of you got their eyes into the back of your head. But that's it's just I guess it's part of the game, and just got to evolve with it.
As a more mobile kind of player, do you almost enjoy the welcome of I wouldn't say like the little fella is back. But again, like I do feel like there was a period where, because the game was much slower, that the forwards were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. Now that the game does kind of suit a more mobile kind of forward pack. Don't get me wrong, there's still some really, really big boys that play.
Sure, yeah.
But it does suit kind of that more mobile pack. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, most definitely. And I guess it's kind of like the style as well that Penrith plays. So I was very lucky enough to come into the system as well at Penrith, and I guess sort of fit that criteria of hard work and grinding footy. So I guess I'm lucky that it's sort of like worked out for me in a way with that sort of style, because at the end of the day, like I knew I never was like a Villam Kikau or a Sonny Bill or a Sam Burgess or anything like that. So I just sort of relied on my I guess my work rate and a bit of leg speed. So I guess it's probably has worked out for me in that regard. And
this year, obviously coming off against the win against the Melbourne Storm, you were at the club in 2020 or 21? 21.
Yeah.
Okay, so you weren't a part of that squad that lost to the Melbourne Storm in that grand final.
No.
But I guess heading into this year, like, we'll get to the Melbourne Storm game eventually. But heading into this year, what was a goal for yourself personally? Like, it's the fourth year, so you've won 3 premierships in a row. You would have been 30 years old at the start of this year.
Yeah.
What was the goal for you personally heading into this year?
For me, I guess I sort of came in 23 into that left edge, and I was sharing that a little bit with Luke Gardner and obviously Liam Martin as well. So for me personally, it was just trying to nail down that position, trying to nail down my combination with Jerome on the left edge there, and just trying to evolve my game and cementing that spot on the left edge.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And throughout the year, I guess it's so hard to talk about Penrith because you've done something so unique. Like when I say, when did you know that you were a chance to win the premiership? Whereas like you just won 3 in a row. So it's like, I guess you'd always have that thought in your head that we're good enough to win the competition. But I guess when do you reckon it clicked for you guys this year? Because it was a bit of a stop and start year don't get me wrong, you still ended up finishing second, I think. It's still a bloody good year. But I do think when you compare it to, say, some of the other years where you've won like 17 in a row or whatever it was, there were times where it was a little bit clunky. Where do you reckon it really clicked for you boys this year? Because I was speaking to Lindsay Smith just before,
go.
and he was like, the Cronulla game when we beat them quite convincingly was like a game where he was like, oh, okay, yep, we're moving in the right direction here.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Roosters game in the first game of the final series.
Was that the Cronulla game down at Cronulla?
Yeah, down at Cronulla, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, where Luai was playing 7.
Yeah. Oh, I think you could. That's probably a good shout from Larry there. The Cronulla game down at Cronulla.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were right up the top of the table, playing them at home. They were on fire. Like they were playing some really good footy. And I felt like that was a real big challenge for us.
Yeah.
And then as you touched on as well, Nathan was out. So that was when Romy really took the reins. So I felt like that was, definitely a real good step in the right direction with our footy. And then coming in the back end of the year, we're probably like, sort of stuttering there maybe a little bit. Or not, I wouldn't say stuttering, just not finding the game that we wanted to play. But then I guess, come finals time and getting that first semi at home, I felt like that was when we really, clicked into gear.
Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, like, here we go.
Yeah. You could see it. I mean, you could see it on the field when you play the Roosters that first half. It was just like... that was like vintage Penrith Panthers.
It was great. I didn't play that game. I was sitting up in the box and I was just like watching, going like, wow, the boys are on. You know? So it was nice to like start the semis like that, and then you could really draw some confidence out of that for sure.
And your final series, obviously, like you're racing the clock. I guess like the internal pressure you'd almost put on yourself of like, man, I don't want to miss this. But then also you're fighting with yourself. Is this best for the team? Like if I come back underdone and I, do my hammy or whatever, then I've just let the team down kind of thing. What's that battle like to let the audience kind of know what that battle is like?
It was tough. Like it was. You got like one side where, you're going like, I don't want to miss this for the world. Like I want to play so bad.
Yeah.
And you're leading through the finals and then you're leading into the GF and you're going like, am I actually going to be okay?
Yeah.
There's those sorts of thoughts. Like, am I going to be fit here? And then you're thinking, geez, what's Ive thinking? What's our performance staff thinking? What's the boys thinking? Because you almost feel like a little bit embarrassed. Like, you're just breaking down every 5 minutes.
Yep.
But you obviously want to be on the big stage. You want to be in the big game. And then, you've got like Luke Gardner that's there as well. He's doing a terrific job. So I'm like, geez, like he's on fire. He's playing really good footy, like coming into that semi-time.
Yep.
And then, it's just, it was tricky. And then, it was such like you just have your days, where you're going like, oh, I'm going to be sweet. I'm going to be all good. Like that's my goal. That's my target.
Yep.
And I remember I was aiming to come back against Cronulla.
Yeah.
Prelim game. Like that was the goal. That was my return. Anyway, during that week, I was talking to the performance staff and talking to Ivan, like, let's, see how you go, sort of putting the plan in place for training. We had the training on Thursday. We were playing on Saturday. And we came in and my head of performance, Tommy Lovell, was like, oh, mate, just going to run through training. Like, come in and we'll talk with Iv. I'm like, okay, sweet. So I went in and sat down and we're just going to talk through your session. Anyway, so I've sat down and his door's closed. And I was like, oh no, this might be bad news. But anyway, so it's just like, look, mate, we're not going to play you this week. And I was kind of like, again, like just those thoughts of like, oh, should I even be playing? Like the team's like doing so well. Should I sit out? Shouldn't I not? But he was just, explaining that his biggest regret would be if he played me and then the week after I'm not there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm actually hurt myself and I'm in the grandstand instead of, pushing to be playing for that game.
Yeah.
So I understood exactly what he meant. But in saying that, I was kind of like, oh, like I just want to play.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was challenging. But at the same time, I just had to trust the process and trust what I was being told and, just really nail down that I had to nail every single day and made sure I was ready. So if I was going to be playing, I'd be 100%.
And so I'm sure there would have been a part of you that, and maybe Ivan like reassured you when he had that chat to you, but I'm sure there might have been a part of you that said, well, like if I don't play the prelim, then maybe I'm not on the GF side.
Exactly.
And so how did that kind of go?
Yeah, well, that was exactly the thought.
Yeah.
Like sort of like, at the game and like all for the boys, all for playing well, all for winning, 100%. Like I love the boys. So it was kind of like, who cares? They're winning. They're going to go into a grand final, like 100%. But yeah, it was kind of like, why change? Like, why fix something that's not broken, sort of thing, So I was thinking a little bit along that way, but then after the Cronulla game, like I was sort of like, all right, get ready for next week.
Yeah, well, okay. So was it straight after that he told you that you're
Pretty
in?
much, yeah.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Like it wasn't like you're playing, but it was kind of like get yourself ready for next week.
Oh, wow. Because that would have relieved quite a bit of stress.
100%. And, obviously you got, my wife and my family, like, what's the go? And, you kind of just like, I don't know. Like, I genuinely didn't know. And then we had like, the media that whole week and I still didn't really, like it wasn't in concrete. So I just had to kind of narrow my focus to being ready, and if I was picked, I was picked.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And so when did you fully like locked in on playing the grand final?
I'm sure I was probably like thinking like like you're playing 100%, but for me personally it was on the Friday, so the Friday before the grand final.
Oh, wow.
Like I really wanted to nail that session and tick every box, and then like if I knew that I nailed that session, then I was me personally 100% playing.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And so you mean Friday before the grand
Sunday
final?
GF,
Yeah, so 2 days before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you nailed that session and then you walked off the field and I was like, yep, all good, and then locked in?
Yeah, pretty much. And then he obviously spoke to the media on the Saturday after captain's run and said, like he's playing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So you're ready to go. You're going into this grand final. And the unique thing about, don't get me wrong, like you look at the Broncos and they're such a big club and you look at, the Eels and the Rabbitohs, all really, really big clubs. But going into a grand final against the Melbourne Storm, it is almost like a bit of a unique situation because they are such a powerhouse club and a club that is known for stepping up in the big games.
Yeah.
What was it like heading into that grand final?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And especially that, as you just touched on, like they were in incredible form. Like they were playing so well. They were, blowing teams off the park to a degree. And, obviously they're half, getting the Dally M and just everyone coming back and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, like we knew, they were going to turn up and they were going to be ready. And, yeah, it was, nerves, as any grand final, as you touched on. Yeah. But this one in particular, it was, yeah, we knew it was going to be a huge game.
And what do you remember the most from the game?
What I remember most from the game?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Probably just that cycle in the second half.
Yep.
Like in the second half when they were really starting to throw the ball around and starting to attack our line. And there was a few sets there on our try line and we took them out. Our right edge took them out. For some reason that moment just stands out. That was just kind of like, all right, boys, like, yes, we're nearly there, but we've still got so much to go. Like that just, for me, it just felt like it built such a belief to, like we can do this 100%.
Yeah, okay.
So just that particular part of the game, like that stands out so much for me.
Just you're almost like building confidence each set that you're holding them out. You're like, we're good here. We've got the systems in place to handle this.
100%. Yeah, exactly. And then just when the boys took them out over the sideline there, that was just like a point where I was like, let's go.
Yeah, far out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alamotti goes up, he takes that catch. And even Isaiah Yeo, before the whistle's gone, starts celebrating.
Yeah.
The Yoey, the ultimate professional.
Isn't he? Yeah.
And yet he was celebrating before the whistle go. What's that feeling like?
Man, you can't even put into words. That feeling, that emotion that falls over you, and you're looking at all the boys and all the teammates, and there's, as you said, just the relief, the excitement, so many emotions are going through your body, and just jumping on each other and giving your mates a hug, and it's just the best feeling ever. It really, really is. And as you said, like with how many grand finals you win, it doesn't matter. Like there's no other feeling in the world than winning a grand final like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, talk about having your kids and all that sort of stuff. Like that's incredible moments. But to be playing a game and chasing a dream and to have that feeling, there's nothing like it, man. It's incredible. And to do it with your best mates and a team that you're so close. It's pretty special, man. It's unbelievable.
And I'm not sure, this is probably me as a fan of rugby league creating this like story that may not exist, but like for me outside looking at it, almost closed the book on that 2020 grand final. Now granted, I'm sure Ivan probably looks at back at that and he's still stinging that he lost that 2020 grand final. Yeah. But from just a fan perspective, it looked like, you can close the book on that storm. We did it. We came back and we got our revenge and we got that win. I don't know. Was that talked about at all or not really? You kept it professional all the way through?
Look, obviously everyone is going to talk about it like you just touched on. Because even I rolled in 2021 and you could feel you could obviously losing a grand final, but you could feel the hurt and the disappointment and the fire in the belly to get back there. You could definitely feel coming into the 24 grand final against Melbourne. It's kind of like let's go.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go after them. Let's get what we want. I think that's a good way to put it. Like you can kind of close the book on it now that we've met them in the grand final again. Let's go and win it this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you win the GF, and what were the celebrations like? Was it? Again, it's so weird. You won 4, so it's just like when you talk about grand final celebrations, usually you're talking about a bloke that we've worked 7 years to get it. We win this one time, and then whereas he's won 4. But I guess what was it like?
Always the best, mate. Always so special. And you know what, like. I think just the best is like having the families around as well. Like that's just magic because like, your partners and your wives and your kids and your mums, your dads, everything, they ride the roller coaster with you. They ride the emotion. They ride the hard times as well as the good times. So to have, like everyone's families out there, you have like the boys and their kids are like rolling into the experience as well. There's just nothing better. And then, Ivan coming down from the box and Benny Gardner and Peter Wallace and all the coaching staff. And, it's just the best feeling ever, man. It's seriously so cool. And then having that time to enjoy that with all the boys and sing the team song in the sheds and it's just nothing better. And obviously having a drink and having a beer and enjoying yourselves. And then, when all the families go off and heading out into the field as a team afterwards, like that's pretty cool. Like that's such a special moment.
And did you played for the Kiwis this year, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And but you didn't play the last game, or you did? As in the PNG game? Did you play that? You played that. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess at what point did you know for sure that you were going to go into Kiwis camp? Because I'm assuming there may have been, I guess you sitting there going, well, I've had some niggly injuries this year. Like, was there ever that decision of like maybe or maybe not, or was always like, look, if I'm good to play, I'm good to play?
Yeah, that was sort of the headspace.
Okay.
That, you know, if I'm healthy and I'm feeling good, and obviously speak to Penrith about it, but if the opportunity's there, I wanted to play.
Okay.
100%.
What I really do respect about Penrith, like you look at a guy like even Dylan Edwards, like needed a shoulder reconstruction. They could have and I think a lot of people would have understood where they would have said, listen, man, you need a shoulder reco, like take the surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Nathan Cleary, he had to take the surgery.
Yeah, that's right.
And yet they allowed Dylan to play for his country. Like I do respect Penrith that they almost put themselves, it's second priority to allowing their players to play for their country like that. Okay, so you make the Kiwi side. What was it like heading into that camp?
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, very exciting. Obviously, so the year before, I got married, so I obviously declined the invitation to go into the Kiwis. But just to see how well they did the year before, and obviously win and do what they did was, it was unbelievable. And you know, obviously I wanted to be a part of that. It was really cool. So heading in this year, it was it was exciting and it was awesome. And obviously just to see like my teammate James Shaharis being the captain and seeing him in that space as well. It was really cool and loved every moment of it.
And so the first game this year, you obviously play these Aussies.
Yep.
And I felt like you played pretty well. Like I know you were missing some really key players in key positions, but I actually, I thought you played pretty well. What was the, I guess, relatively disappointing series for you guys? Again, maybe it wasn't, but I'd assume it was because you would expect to make the grand final. What was it like for you?
That game or the whole thing? Sorry.
Series overall.
Yeah. Like as you touched on, we wanted to be in the final. Wanted to be winning and be challenging to win the cup. But yeah, as you said, unfortunately that didn't happen. And I just think like it was such a shame because we actually had such a close group. And obviously Stacey Jones is doing such a good job.
Yep.
Did such a good job. All the staff did such an incredible job to get us prepared and get us ready. It was just disappointing. Obviously, we couldn't put that together on the field.
Yeah.
Losing obviously sucks and that hurts. But I just feel like because we had such a really cool group and a really close group, it just it was adds to the disappointment.
Yeah.
And then obviously Sean coming back in as well was
good.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Really really cool touch. And so cool that he accepted that to come back. But yeah, just unfortunately couldn't get it done on the field.
Look, as a fan, we consider and like, oh, you were missing these key players. But as players, you never make those excuses. You never go, oh, we were missing this guy and this guy.
Yeah.
I guess, what do you reckon it was? Where do you reckon the areas you could have probably improved on in the actual games, do you think?
Yeah. I suppose it's just like just little areas, like just more so kind of just, fundamental, like concentration, like just those sorts of things. Because I felt like we were doing a really good job against Aussie. I felt like, we were really aiming up and really making it a match. And then obviously just a few kind of minor errors led to them getting away with it. And then again, like I think it's pretty obvious when we versed Tonga that we didn't get the start right.
Yeah.
We really had to match fire with play fire with fire. And they obviously we just didn't give ourselves a chance in the first half and just giving them too much ball there. And it was just obviously too late to finish it off. And, going off the way we played in the second half was really like, it just showed the belief and it showed the way that we can play. I know you touched on players not being there and all that sort of stuff. But then again, we kind of look at it as like the New Zealand Rugby League's in a really good place, led by an incredible leader in Stacey. So I feel like moving forward, if you get, one or two or three more boys in the team that unfortunately couldn't be there this year, it's going to be a very, very dangerous side moving forward, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, because like as I said, players will never sit there and go, "Oh, we're missing him or this player."
Definitely. And again, like you might touch on that, but missing them, missing whoever, but how cool was it to see how many people get an opportunity?
I was about to say Kinney.
How many people debut?
Yeah.
I think we had 7 people debut, and Kinney was outstanding. I thought Crossland was fantastic, and all these boys that come into the international picture and they get that opportunity to represent their country and represent their families. So yes, it might have hurt us in this series, but moving forward, it's so beneficial and so exciting.
Well, you look at it and you go, okay, so now Crossland has some experience in a huge game like the Tonga game was so big. You got guys like Kinney who have been eligible for the Golden Boot. Yeah, that's how good he was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then obviously SJ came back in, but let's say you get the Dally M winner, which is Hughes, and then Brown comes back in. All of a sudden, you got Cheese as well that could potentially come in.
Definitely.
So like you can obviously be disappointed, but at the same time, if you do look for the silver lining, there actually is quite a lot of silver linings for the Kiwis. And also, I think as well, when you looked how close the Tonga Australia game was, I think it's actually more a matter of the gap has closed. Like it's no longer like, if Tonga does really well, it's a blip on the radar. It's actually no, they're actually just a really bloody good side now.
They are.
So
most
it's
definitely.
So like Tonga only lost to Australia by 4 points.
Yeah.
And they only beat you by what was it, like a field goal?
I think it was a field goal. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's actually like when you look at it like that, you're like, there's actually a lot of things to like in the Kiwis situation.
Yeah, most definitely. And as I said before, mate, it's in a really good place. And who knows how many other players might get a debut in the near future, and players come back in or what have you. But it's in a really, really good place, and I'm excited for going forward.
And what was it like that Tonga game? Because the Tongan fans, we are so privileged in rugby league to have the Polynesian, Samoan, Tongan base, because they offer such a unique experience as a rugby league fan that you really can't get anywhere in the world.
No.
What was that like running out to that game?
It was crazy, like so cool. Such a special fan base, such a special culture, and I feel like it's an extra player for Tonga. It really is. Yeah. Like it's just surreal, and even as playing for the Kiwis, it was so incredible to see their love and they're singing their hymns and their songs and getting right behind the team. I feel like when we were warming up before we versed PNG, they were playing before us, and it was just so cool to hear them singing and going, and like Aussie are ahead, but they're just so into it and so passionate, and it's so cool and so special for the game, and it just shows how important the international game is.
And look, Wiki, you can never trust Wiki, but it says Tongan descent here. Do you have Tongan descent?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Far
so
out.
I had a phone call during the year from Christian Wolf, the Tongan coach, and just basically, just said, like, I understand that you want to represent the Kiwis, but if there's ever the thought potentially to play for Tonga, we'd love to have you on. But enjoying the Kiwi space at the moment, and really sort of heading down to represent them more. I'd love to do that for sure.
I guess it's just you look at it from a perspective of like it would have been a small part of you that looked up to the Red Sea and be like, wow, that's incredible, because you have that connection to it to a degree.
Most definitely. Like, that might be on later down the track to represent Tonga, most definitely. But for now, just enjoying the Kiwi jersey, mate.
Mate, take us back to a young fella. Born in Sydney. Whereabouts in Sydney you were born?
Hurstville Hospital.
Hurstville Hospital. Okay. And I guess, was it always rugby league for you, or was it all sports? Like, what was it for you?
Yeah, growing up, as a young fella, like one of 4, 2 older brothers and older sister. So obviously chasing after them and, trying to compete against them. So I probably should say thank you to them for helping me get to this spot. Yeah. But, anything and everything, cricket, footy, tennis camps, whatever, swimming, whatever it was. And then, but it was, obviously, first and foremost was playing rugby league as a kid growing up.
Yep. And who was your team growing up?
Well, I sort of like, do you mean supporting?
Yeah,
the Sharks, yeah.
Sharkies.
Always have just had a soft spot for Cronulla and supporting them. And then obviously growing up in Cronulla as well. So, that was always the team I was going for.
And so, because you obviously, was it your grandfather? He played for New Zealand?
Yes, correct, yeah.
And I guess, like, sometimes when you've got family members that have played professionally, there's not necessarily an expectation, but like the path is you've seen someone in your family do it. So it's kind of maybe in your mind. Growing up, did you just play footy because you loved it? Or was there always like, I have a dream of potentially playing professionally?
Yeah, definitely both.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Absolutely loved it. Loved playing footy. And of course the family tie as well into the game. And then obviously growing up in the Shire, the story and everyone would always bring up the Dane and Kurt Sorensen that represented Cronulla and just talk about them. So that was always that sort of like kind of thing of I'd love to obviously go down that way and play rugby league.
Yep.
And then growing up, like all the cut out newspaper articles and all those sorts of stories and books and what have you. So, there was always, some fire in the belly to want to play rugby league.
And when do you reckon you probably started excelling and kind of realising like, it's one thing to have the dream, but then you've obviously got to have the talent too. So
definitely.
When do you reckon you started going, actually, I'm pretty good for my age? Were you a late bloomer or an early bloomer?
Oh, definitely a late bloomer.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Got picked in, the Harold Mats as a young fella, but like only played like one game. Same with SG Ball, that sort of stuff. But I think it was more when I went to Endeavour Sports High School. So when I went there and started, being in the rugby league program there and heading into Cronulla in the under 20s, that was when it was sort of like, okay, I want to go all in here and want to play first grade.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so I guess, was it always like the dream for Cronulla, or was there other clubs that you kind of had interest at all? Or
of course, definitely want to play for Cronulla.
Yeah.
100%. But at the end of the day, it was more I just want to play in NRL.
Give me a chance.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so when did you? What was your first big rep side? Was it what age were you at that stage?
Big rep side. Well, I only really played 20s for Cronulla.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
So
Wow.
there was no like real rep or anything like that.
Okay. How'd you find your way into the 20s then? Did you just kind of like just keep turning up in?
And just obviously being selected and making the cuts and that sort of stuff, and then just ended up playing a few games of under 20s. And then rolled into a part-time contract and started playing a few New South Wales Cup games as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And were you working? What were you doing for a job out of school?
What was I doing for a job? I was doing a few jobs. I was doing like baggage handling out at the airport.
Yeah.
I was working at Subway, Cronulla Mall. So,
No way.
So it was.
Is that like the mall? Where it has like Cold Rock in that in? Is that the one?
Yeah, like down that way. Down the Cronulla Mall there. Yeah, so it's just serving Subway and that sort of stuff.
Do you still remember how to serve a Subway?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Just little jobs to get you by while you playing 20s and all that sort of stuff. So it was fun and it was cool and it was a good time actually. Yeah, it's good.
And so you start playing 20s for Cronulla.
Yeah.
When did they kind of approach you and say, we want to give you a part-time gig? Was that to train with New South Wales Cup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just training New South Wales Cup and playing on the weekends or whatever it was. So that was like sort of like 2013, 2014.
Yep.
So it was just pretty much worked out like that.
Yeah, okay.
Just a part-time gig.
And when did you first get the call up of like, we want you to come train with our first grade side?
It was sort of like that 2024, like leading into 2024 pre-season.
2014 pre-season?
2014, beg your pardon, pre-season. And it was just kind of like the one-off, like come and train with first grade, come get flogged, come and, we're doing con on Saturday morning, come and jump in with the boys. Just that sort of stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. See what you're made of kind of stuff.
Yeah, just like, might as well come and train with the boys. And so
2014, you're talking like, your Luke Lewis's, your Gals,
definitely.
You're
all
about
the
to, 16 is the year they won?
16's the year
16,
they won. Yeah.
So you're building into like a premiership win.
Yeah.
I guess, what struck you the most about that first grade? Like, was it a star? Was it seeing Luke Lewis, or was it the training intensity? Like, what struck you the most?
Oh, definitely just like the people that are there.
Yeah.
Like 100%. I was just like wow, like this is really cool. Training with the boys. And then, obviously the first grade intensity, the way they held themselves, like, and then, that's coming into like, watching diets, watching how heavy they're lifting, like all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And that was kind of like, okay, like, if I want to get there, that's kind of what I need to be doing.
Yep.
But really like focusing down on, if I want to get there, that's what I need to do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so this year you're playing New South Wales Cup when you were
2014.
2014,
yeah.
New South Wales Cup.
Yeah, and then so I was playing that for a little bit, and then just enjoying playing cup and getting a few wins. And we also had, like the Melbourne boys coming up and playing as well. So that was really cool and a pretty cool time.
Was this when you had the purple jerseys?
Yeah. Just like a tinge of purple.
Yeah, a tinge of purple on the Sharkies jersey or something like that?
Yeah.
That's strange.
It's crazy how far and how many teams have changed and what have you. But that was just what was working at the time.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
And so when did you start to get the feeling of like, did your debut come out of nowhere, or were you? Yeah.
Definitely out of nowhere.
Okay.
It's kind of like when the whole like Asada stuff was going down.
Okay.
And obviously, the team was kind of like, obviously in pieces, and it was. I don't know. I don't want to say like it wasn't. Like it was just kind of like I was very lucky to get an opportunity to debut in 2014. I didn't think I was ready. I didn't think it would come. And I was working at the airport that time, and I just got a call on the Thursday. Hey mate, you're going to be playing first grade this week. Come to training tonight.
No way.
Train Thursday and Friday, and then play the Saturday.
What?
Yeah, that's it. Pretty much just throwing the jersey, I guess.
Wow.
So I was very, very lucky.
Like that's the stuff you hear of like the late 90s, early 2000s of like, oh yeah, just come down and play, sit on the bench for Rezzies and then come play first grade or something.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you got the phone call, who called you?
James Shepherd at the time. He was the coach. And I was just literally on my lunch break at the airport working, just like another day. And I got a phone call, mate, need you at training tonight. You'll be debuting this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. So you roll into training and how you handle it mentally? Are you?
I don't know. It was just literally like, mate, just do your best. Like it was just go out there, train with the boys, and obviously we had some really good leaders there as well, like Chris Heinsohn, Jeff Robson, some boys that obviously been around, Michael Gordon, some experienced fellas. So I thought they did an incredible job at the time under the circumstances.
Yep. And so what do you remember from your debut?
Oh, it's just like Shark Park, even better. Like, but nerves, scared, all that sort of stuff. And we're versing Canberra and unfortunately lost. But, you cannot say that, it was the best day ever. And that's why you play the game is, for those experiences and wanting to debut. But it was pretty special to play for Cronulla and play at Shark Park and make your debut.
Is there anything you remember from the game at all specifically?
Just getting folded in half by Paul Vaughan.
Big
Vaughan. He was playing for Canberra at the time, and I think it was probably like my first hit up. It was just like, have a hit up, get involved, and he just crunched me, folded me in half. But just the speed of the game, physicality, all that sort of stuff. Lived up to the height.
And so that year you played 3 games.
3 games, just the last 3 of that year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I guess how'd you feel about that? Like, were you just almost like a whirlwind to a degree?
It was just like shock. Like it was just like, as I said to you, it was, sort of handed the jersey to play. And it was just the best. But in saying that, it was sort of like, I don't even know if I'm ready for this.
Yeah, okay. What a strange time, eh?
It was a strange time, but like an incredible experience as well.
Yeah. I guess what was it? Being a young fella and, because you're so outside of that whole drama that happened, you wouldn't have known any of the details. You wouldn't have really known anything. You weren't even in the first grade squad.
No.
But I guess like as a young fella, like, are you almost finding out things as the same time as the rest of the public is to a degree?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Like sort of getting all the stories in the newspaper, on the news and all that sort of stuff. I was just like the public, man, with what everyone was finding out. I was pretty much exactly the same. But, obviously the coach is just trying to narrow our focus and trying to keep it between the 4 walls and just knowing like boys, like, look, at the end of the day, we've still got to perform. We've still got to put the jersey on and play. So I was just trying to do that as well. Okay,
so you played 3 games that year, but then you don't play again. Obviously, you go to the Raiders. At what point did you go to the Raiders? And what happened there?
So after that 2014 year, it was just sort of like, you can come back and play cup if you really want, or what do you want to do? Like you could put you on another part-time contract.
No way.
And I don't know. I was just kind of like, I just got to taste the first grade. Like that's all I want now.
Yeah,
like I just want to be doing that. Like 100%. Anyway, so it just kind of like like you come down and train with us, or see how you go, or see if we can give you a part-time contract. Anyway, I got a call from the manager to go and have a chat with South at the time, and their feeder club was the Bears. So it was just like a train and trial deal. So I went there and started training with South in 2015.
No way.
Yeah, so trained that pre-season. Didn't get a first grade crack there at the time, but just played majority of the year New South Wales Cup.
Yeah, okay. And so I guess, where's your head at this stage? Because you just played first grade, so usually as a young fella, if you play first grade, you're like, surely there's going to be a full-time contract for me somewhere. But you go to Rabbitohs and you don't play any first grade there. I guess, are you getting deterred at all? Are you still just head down, bum up, I'm going to work my ass off? Where's your head at?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yes, there's fire in the belly about wanting to play first grade again and wanting to play, but then it was sort of like, oh yeah, if this doesn't work out, I'm happy to just sort of move on. Hounding my manager, being a pest, what's the go? Is there anything out there? What's the go? And it was just really just New South Wales Cup contracts and nothing really happening. I got asked to go back to the Bears as well and be sort of part-time with them. But yeah, I was just kind of I just love to just get an opportunity to full-time. I'd love to, but obviously you want to be playing first grade to push your claims, but unfortunately it wasn't. So I just kind of got to the back end of that year and I was like, well, yeah, okay, it's not really working out.
Yep.
So I ended up going out and getting a job out at DP World, out at the Port Botany at the shipping terminals. I just went out there and was like, okay, I had a taste of first grade. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But, okay, as in terms of a career, maybe it's just not meant to be.
Yeah, so you spend that year at the Rabbitohs. Are you you're 21 years old at this stage, 22?
Yeah, 22, something like that. Yeah.
So I guess you're probably really tossing up in your head, because you would have been already working a job.
Yeah.
But the hard thing for a young fella at that age is okay, well, I've got these mates that at 22 years old probably nearly finished their apprenticeships. And so they're building towards the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And you go, well, I can't go and get apprenticeship because I'm going to be tired for footy. Even though there's some players that can do it, it's not necessarily the best for a footy career to be, laying bricks all day or labouring all day or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess where was your head at the end of that year?
Yeah, pretty much looking to get a job.
Yeah, okay, wow. Fuck,
yeah, really just kind of okay, I felt like I was I had a crack. Obviously got a taste. That's what I wanted to do, play for Cronulla. I did that. Of course I was, in talking to my wife, girlfriend at the time, and just kind of I just love, I'd love to get another chance. I'd love to get an opportunity, back in just to be for full time and be in that space. But yeah, at the end of the day, I was I need to work as well. So it was just more all right, how about we just go and chase a good job and and just sort of go down that lane.
Yeah, wow. And what do you reckon? Do you reckon it was did you train as hard as you could have? Was it an attitude thing? What was it, do you think?
Definitely like to think it wasn't an attitude thing or training hard. I felt like I definitely did that 100%. But it was Madge's credit at the time, and he was to his credit, Madge was the coach at the time, and he was just explained as simple and upfront. Was just I'm sorry, we just don't have a spot for you next year.
Yeah, okay.
And, I guess as any player, that's what you want. Just be told to the face and
100%.
Just get the truth.
Yep.
That unfortunately we just don't have a spot for you next year.
Yep.
Why that was I don't know, but it was just they had other players and other youngsters coming through and so many talent and crop of players coming through at South at the time, and obviously the roster that they had as well. So, but it was just, it's just as simple as that, mate. I was just on a train and trial contract and it just didn't work out for me.
And so what job did you end up getting, or did you end up getting a crack at Raiders before you got a job?
No. So I was sort of all right, I'll put footy at the back burner for now.
Yeah. And
I went and got a job at Port Botany at the shipping terminal for DP World, and that was just a really cool job. It was obviously driving trucks, learning to eventually use the cranes and all that sort of stuff, and and my wife she started working there as well. So it was just a cool little job, and I enjoyed it and didn't really sort of think about footy kind of thing. Wow. Just to a certain degree, obviously watched it and loved the game, but just was kind of maybe just it's not me.
Oh, wow. That's it's just to think about, you just won 4 premierships and where your headspace was there, where you're like, look, I love the game, but it just kind of hasn't worked out for us.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get into this next segment, brought to you by Grumpy Coffee, I need to know, brother, what makes you grumpy and what turns your frown upside down?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. We touched on it before with being grumpy, and I think my wife would definitely agree that if I don't have my coffee, it definitely makes me grumpy. Always the first thing I do is get up in the morning and have a coffee, so that always definitely turns my frown upside down.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So it's all coffee related, pretty much.
Definitely, mate. And my missus knows if I'm not me, she's go and get a coffee. Like 100%.
That's not an ad too, guys. That's not an ad. He hasn't been paid.
No, not at all.
Thanks,
yeah,
brother.
but simple as that.
I love it. That's so good. Mate, okay, so you're sitting there and you're going, all right, footy may have not worked out for me.
Yeah.
What happens next?
What happens next? Okay, so working out there and doing well and getting paid really good money as well. So I was just thinking, all right, let's just save some money and get some money behind me and start working. And then my manager just gave me a call and I was open to it. Just go play some park footy. Do you just want to get a New South Wales contract and just play some park footy, get some match payments and, just add to your finances and, just enjoy playing the game. He's like, I know you love the game and, it's just kind of like, do you want to go and start playing again?
Yep.
So I was like, yeah, okay. Like, who was it? And it was the Mounties. Who were the cup side, feeder side for Canberra at the time. So I was just like, yeah, sweet. And I had a few mates that were out there. One of the trainers was a close friend of mine. So it just opened that door to go start playing some park footy.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so you get down there and I guess what happens that season? Did things click for you or what happens from that point on?
Yeah, so so I started training with the boys and got a position to come off the bench in New South Wales Cup and I played 2 games at the time and so I finished up one of the games and my coach came up to me and said, oh mate, Ricky asked would you be open in just coming down to Canberra and having a few training sessions and I was like, oh okay, all right, sweet as, no worries. So I started just going down there once or twice a week and then coming back and playing for the Mounties. But I was still just like really happy with, where I was working and playing New South Wales Cup. So
were you driving down to Canberra?
Yeah, just once or twice a week, just to do a little bit of training.
Yep.
And then obviously train with the Mounties and play with them. And then I believe Mitch Barnett left Canberra and went to Newcastle. So that left edge kind of opened up for me to play there. So I jumped in there and was playing there, and then I got a phone call that was like, "Mate, we want you to come down and train with us for the rest of the year." So that was kind of like July, sort of June, July, August, that sort of time of the year, and they're like, "Yeah, we want you to come down and train with us full time." So I was like, "All right." So I spoke to my girl and work and, could we potentially make this work? Because, I don't really want to let go of this job. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, like you want to play first grade or not? Like, let's go chase it again. You've got a great opportunity here. Like, let's go for it.
Yeah.
So cut ties with working at the Wharfs and then moved down to Canberra at the back end of, so what would that have been? 2016. Yeah, 2016.
Wow,
Head down
okay.
there. And then I got an opportunity to be given a 2-year contract down in Canberra.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you get down there, you're living in Canberra, you're training in the first grade squad. And that would have been 2015?
Yes.
15. 16 even.
Into 16. Yeah.
Wow.
So going into 2016.
So there was a pretty much a 12-month period where you were kind of just working, enjoying life.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 10 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get down there, end of 16 you said. I guess what happens? What happens from there?
Signed the 2-year contract after 2016 and the Mounties ended up doing really well. So I really enjoyed playing footy and actually started to play some really good footy.
Yeah, okay.
And unfortunately lost in the grand final, the Cup grand final. And then, started training in 2017. I was living with Sam Williams at the time.
Yep.
He gave me a room at his place, so stayed with him and Clay Priest was there as well. So room with them and then, just training full time and down in Canberra and then...
So this would have been your first full-time contract?
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah.
so you would have been, what, 23?
Yeah, it would have been, yes, 23.
Wow. And so are you just sitting there going, what an opportunity, I'm going to rip in.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like and they're, a full preseason as well, I felt like really, really helped me.
Yeah. It is a big, big difference. Like if
100%.
like part-time compared to full-time, if you can dedicate your whole life to being the best athlete you can be, you're always going to be able to usually outperform someone that trains part-time.
Yeah, 100%. And then like you mingle in and mix in and training with the boys that have got all that experience as well. Like you're just like a sponge. You just take it all in and absolutely loving it. And then as the season rolled in, you go and play for Mounties if you weren't obviously playing first grade. So you jump in a minivan and head up on the Friday night.
Oh, so all the boys getting together?
Yeah. So we'd jump in a minivan and we'd drive up on the Friday night, do their captain's run and play the next day.
So did the boys drive or does someone drive?
Yeah, boys drove. Yeah. So just take turns driving and
No way.
drove, and there'd be like a bus full of us. Like
Some of your best memories in the bus?
100%.
Yeah.
Always the best. Like such good times.
Yeah.
So we drive up, play, get back in the van after the game, and then drive back to Canberra.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And where would you stay? Just in a motel or something
Yeah,
like
just
that?
in a motel.
Yep.
I can't remember where it was, but just a little motel for the boys who jump in.
Isn't it funny? Like during those times, you're so not stressed, but you so want to play first grade.
Yeah.
You don't realise that you're living the best times of your life. There's not much
100%.
responsibility. You're playing footy with your mates. Yeah, you're not playing first grade, but you're all kind of in the same period of your life. You're young, kids that are trying to make it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I look back at some of my times when I was playing reserve grade, and they really are some of the best times of your life.
Definitely. And like you just build like your mates that you meet and people that you meet along the way and coaches and like all the above. Like it's such a cool time, such a special time. And like even just like reliving it now and saying it to you as well. Like that was some of the funnest, like best times ever. Like it was so cool.
I can just imagine, like you get on the bus with the boys, you've got your normal pest. He's a pest every time. He's putting crap on the guy that always get the crap put on him. You got the bands are coming back and forth.
That's right.
The guy that usually sleeps, he's always sleeping, but the pest is waking him up. Like it's just the usual stuff.
Oh, just like, and even like it was, I think it was kind of like really cool because we had like Steve Antonelli, who was our coach at the time, and his wife Kim were just like incredible, and could understand that like it was kind of like tough going for us to always be driving back and forth. But it was just so good, and I felt like it worked for like unfortunately the boys that got dropped back or got dropped from first grade, that they'd roll into a bus and we'd kind of get them up and like, come on, let's go, and then they would end up playing really well and get them back into first grade. Like we didn't know that at the time, but thinking about it, it's kind of like it's pretty cool. Like to like unfortunately you don't want to be dropped and it sucks. But to roll into that and a little bit of fun and a little bit lightheartedness, and a bus trip and hanging out with the boys, like you can't ask much more for that.
Mate. And the win on the way back, the bus drive after a win, like it literally doesn't get better.
That's right. Yeah.
Literally doesn't get better.
It was really, it was a cool time.
We playing for the Clydesdales, which used to be the Broncos reserve grade side, and they were based in Toowoomba.
Okay.
And so we'd drive up to Toowoomba, and if we had a win, it was the best. The beers were brought up on the esky.
That's right.
All the boys having a good time.
Yeah, it was really good.
You're planning where you're going to go out when you get back and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
so.
Exactly.
Okay, so at what point did you kind of feel, I'm close to a debut here, or did this kind of come out of nowhere as well? Club debut, sorry.
Yeah, you're right. Look, talking with Antonelli at the time, and just trying to play well in cup, and I think there might have been an injury or two, or somebody went down, or what have you. And then I just remember Antonelli saying, like, mate, you're always in the conversation. You're always, pushing for a spot. I'm pushing for you. So, I feel like there might be something coming in the next few weeks. So he sort of gave me a heads up in that regard.
Yep.
And then, being told that I was going to make my debut, club debut for Canberra.
Would have felt like a debut, though, because it'd been a couple of years. Yeah,
100%. And that's why I took it. And funnily enough, I'm playing for Canberra against Cronulla.
No way.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
and you debuted against Canberra.
Yeah. So I've debuted for Cronulla against Canberra, then I'm debuting for Canberra against Cronulla. Yeah, it's crazy how the footy world works.
Yeah.
But, so and then I was coming up against my brother-in-law as well. So
no way.
So that was pretty cool.
That's a great Chad Townsend, correct?
Yes.
Correct,
yes.
I actually ran past him the other day in the Shire. He was driving. Yeah, I was plodding along at about 1 mile per hour.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just lost it, bro. Like, I don't have that dog in me anymore. A little chihuahua, bros.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think, I think the audience would kind of know this, but like that second time when you make your way all the way back to first grade, sometimes it's sweeter than the actual debut because you've gone this journey of like thinking I may never get back there to, you know what, I believed in myself, I gave this a crack, and I'm all the way back to where I hoped I would be. What was that like for you running out in the Canberra jersey?
It was. I think you just pretty much nailed it, man. Like you just said it all. Like seriously, it was like, just like I've gotten this opportunity again. Like like proud and it was pretty cool because like as you said, like it was kind of just a time where I was like, okay, I got a crack, didn't work out, whatever, and then I've been given this opportunity. And it's like, all right, let's go after it. And then to be officially like being told like, okay, you're playing first grade grand. Yeah. That was just like, yes. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like that's what it's about.
It's a typical like going after your goals and achieving them. Like you sacrifice so much. Yeah. You could have stayed at your job, continued to progress, got a good wage, and that is a good path forward. But you didn't. You said, you know what, I'm going to put that on the back burner. I want to do all this hard work and I'm going to get rewarded for that hard work. Man, because it was a much smaller time, but like when I went to the Warriors and it didn't work out and I fought my way all the way back into the Broncos first grade side, it wasn't as big as my debut, but it was nearly as important just because you have to prove to yourself.
That's a good word for it. Yeah, just like really important. And it was just like a feeling like I did it. Yeah. Like I did it. And it's just so satisfying and so cool. Yeah.
And it can almost, it's not a lonely journey because you've got your partner and you got your family, but because it's such a unique journey that you go on to get back into first grade, it's such a personal win. Yeah. It's such a personal win to get back there.
Yeah. It's like just reliving it now. Hey, like it was just kind of like I put all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was so nice to have that satisfaction that it's paid off and you've been given an opportunity and like, here you go.
And then so you get the green machine, the milk, you put the jersey on, other milk. Yeah. What do you remember from your club debut?
Oh, look, like it was the best. Like, running on and playing in the middle and I only got like the back end 10 minutes of the second half kind of thing. But I don't care. I would have taken a minute or 80. Yeah. I just couldn't care less just to be in that position again. Yeah. It was really cool and it's just happy to be playing and just versing Cronulla as well. Like, it was even cool. Like after the game, like all the Cronulla boys knew how much that meant to me. And after they, coming up and shaking my hands, going like, "Congrats, man, for like getting back here." And so that was really cool as well. That was a nice feeling.
And so what happened to get you back to Cronulla in 2018? What happened there?
So I signed for 2 years. So then the back end of 2017, manager called and said, "Look, there's an opportunity to go back to Cronulla." Obviously, growing up in Cronulla and been given that opportunity to go back home was definitely like I would love that. Got on the phone and just had a pretty honest conversation to Ricky about giving an opportunity to head back home and can't thank you enough for my time. And if it didn't work out and I had to stay at Canberra, I was cool with that as well. But thankfully, Ricky was just like, mate, completely understand, 100%. Thank you so much for your time and go for it, mate. Go chase that opportunity.
And so you go back up to Cronulla.
Yeah.
And I guess, is this where you kind of started to get some confidence in it seemed to be clicking for you? You're playing more first grade. You're probably more confident in what you do bring to a side. Yeah. Sometimes as a teenager or as early 20s, like you almost don't even know what you bring to a side. You're just there to just get through the game kind of thing. Yeah. Did you start getting a lot of confidence in your ability to affect games?
Definitely, mate. And, just to being brought back into that side with, again, the players that they had there, was exciting and the club was in a really good space at the time. And then obviously coming off the 2016 grand final. And then to add to that, having the opportunity to play along with my brother-in-law, was special for the family. So there were so many attractive things and it was just another really cool experience and something that absolutely loved. As you said, like just a little bit more confidence and a little bit more maturity. It was just going in there and going to grab it with both hands.
And so you guys, 2018, you finished in the top 4 at season ends, you play all 3 of the club's final matches and I think people they don't forget, but like, you know, Sharky's finished in the top 4 in that period. Like, he's had such a strong period through the, 15, 16, kind of that era.
Yeah.
You've gone from a couple of years ago, you're not knowing what's going on, to now you're actually playing finals footy, finished in the top 4. What was that like for you?
Yeah, that was awesome. Especially like rolling in. I remember we versed the Roosters and we lost that first semi. And I just remember like walking back to the car after the game, and we jumped in the car and I was just chatting to Chad at the time. And I was like, even though like we lost and it sucks, I was like, that was like one of the best experiences ever. Like, playing finals footy.
Yeah.
At Allianz, full house. I was like, that was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like that's. Then I really started to understand like this is why you play the game. Like those experiences, were just unreal.
And so then, did you win the next game and make a prelim?
Yeah. So we beat Penrith at Allianz. I think it might have been by a field goal. And then we went down and versed Melbourne in Melbourne, and unfortunately lost that one. But again, man, like such a cool experience, unbelievable, and to be in that side was it was.
And you would have been Storm 18 would have been like Billy Slater, Cam
Smith. It might have been the year he was retiring, possibly. It might have been his last home game.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. So
to be there for like a legend's last home game, and you look across, there's Cam Smith as well. It's I mean, playing those legends of the game, it's such a buzz.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I mean, even playing with the legends that we had in our team.
Yeah,
like that was just a big enough buzz. That was
absolutely.
really cool. And then versus Melbourne in Melbourne, Amy Park. Like, that's what, finals footy is all about. And that was an awesome time, man.
And so the next year, you made 5 appearances for Cronulla. You played for Newtown.
Yep.
And you won the grand final over the Wentworthville Magpies.
Yes.
I guess it's a bit of probably a mixed feeling, because you're playing reserve grade and you just had such a good year, but at the same time you're winning that grand final. What was that year like for you?
It was I don't know, it was a little bit frustrating at times, like you're sort of back there again, and playing first grade and just absolutely loving it, and then it sort of rolled into the 2019 season and another really good preseason and all that sort of stuff, and then it was kind of like, I don't know, I was in, but I wasn't there. I was sort of the 18th man kind of spot. And then, with everything that was happening at the time, like Shane Flanagan got sacked there as well. So then we had John Morris step in, and I just unfortunately just wasn't cracking the side like I would have liked. Getting a few games here and a few games there. But it just wasn't working out. And I feel like, like thinking about it now, it's kind of like those Mounties days where you head back to the New South Wales Cup team and you just kind of like start to be like, I don't want to say found my love again, but just kind of like really enjoyed it. Like just that, like it is what it is. The staff there were so good. They were so supportive. We had a really good group. We had that young crop of boys coming through, like your Sione Katoas, Will Kennedy's, Blake Brayley. Yep. Like I was in that in that sort of team where they've just rolled out of 20s in the cup, like all these stars around me, like that are just blossoming. So, that was really cool time as well. And then again, having, first graders come back and, they were all up for it, and it was really cool. Like it was a really, really good time playing for the Blue Bags then. As you said, like, yes, it hurts and it sucks that I'm not playing first grade, but in this situation, I was just going to enjoy it and make the most of it. So that was really cool. And, in saying that as well, like I just had my son was born in 2019, so that was just a special. It was really good.
And so you win the grand final New South Wales Cup. But is this the famous Magoulius? The famous
Chase. Yeah.
And so that was obviously in the Interstate Cup.
Yeah.
Mate, walk us through that game. Do you remember?
Crazy.
Walk us through that play. Walk us through the whole game.
It's just crazy. The Wentworth one, like I don't know, it's just. They're pretty much identical. Like, really. It was just like looking at the clock, a few seconds to go, whatever it was, down or tying or whatever. And, Billy just gets the ball, just looks up, speaks to his winger or centre and just kicks it. It was literally almost identical, like both weeks in a row.
No way.
Being in that situation. And, it was pretty cool. Like, it was unbelievable how it all played out.
Yep.
And then to win both like that was such a special memory and a really good time. Yeah, it was unreal.
Incredible. And so that year as well, you named in the 2019 Canterbury Cup New South Wales Team of the Season. And actually, this is the second time you've made that side. You made that side in 2017 as well. I guess, again, it's such a weird spot to be in because you play all those games the year before. And then you make the New South Wales Cup Team of the Year, which is like, that's a tough side to make. Like it's not just like, oh yeah, it's New South Wales Cup, don't worry about it. Usually the people that make that side are either young absolute guns that are going on to play a lot of first grade, or guys that are just for some reasons just not making that first grade side. I guess for you, were you going, all right, I've loved this year, but my goal is like I need to get back into that first grade side like immediately.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like that, like I kind of got to this point, like around that area where I was just like all eggs in one basket, as I said before. Obviously I had people talking about, and my wife as well, talking to me about, got a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
Like we need to support him, obviously support us. So, so I'm thinking, geez, so like, all right. I'm not going to be thinking about a job. I'm not going to be thinking about working. I'm not going to be thinking about anything. I'm just like, I want to go after this. Like I really, really want to go after first grade. I really want to be playing first grade. So anyway, so that season sort of finishes, and there wasn't really like any talk about contracts, footy, moving forward.
With a 1-year-old.
Who's going to sign, all that sort of stuff. So I was kind of like, oh God, like, like here I am with the mindset of like all guns blazing. This is all I want to do.
Yeah.
Sort of like job offers, obviously family talking about, starting an apprenticeship, whatever it was, and I was just kind of like, no, like I don't want to do any of that. This is exactly what I want to do. I don't want to think twice. And but then I was kind of like in the same boat with like no real contract, no real offer, all that kind of thing.
And you just made the Team of the Year for New South Wales Cup.
That was cool, but I don't know. I wasn't really thinking.
You wouldn't have been thinking like that. I'm thinking of it more from an like analysis kind of perspective of like, if you make the New South Wales Cup Team of the Year, there's surely got to be clubs interested. Like surely.
Yeah. Well, just the time, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
But then I ended up getting a 1-year contract with Cronulla again.
Yep.
Yeah. So and then just jumped at that.
Walk us through because your family and your loved ones, they just want what's best for you.
100%.
And so they're saying, hey mate, like you're probably 24 at this stage.
Yeah.
You need to start building towards life after. You got a 1-year-old, and like the safe option, and it's maybe even the smart option, is like, you know what, like get a job because I need to take care of my little one.
Yeah.
I guess in your head, were you just like just one more crack?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. It was just like if I could just get one more crack. Like yes, I played New South Wales Cup, but I've had a really good season, so confidence was good. But it was just getting an opportunity. I think I sort of rolled into just doing a little bit of labour work as well, just that kind of, like November, December, January kind of time.
Yeah.
So I was just doing like a little bit of demolition.
So you were fully out, so you weren't even, when you didn't go back to a first grade squad in November?
No, January I went back.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were fully out of the system essentially.
Yeah. But in saying that as well, I was kind of like keeping the door open for other opportunities elsewhere.
Yep.
So, yes, like, I wasn't in the first grade system, but I was just kind of like going, oh, maybe there might be another opportunity here.
Yep.
But then, so the 1 year came with Cronulla, and then I just jumped at that, took that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine those,
there's so many like mixed emotions and like even just like, yes, like, that's all you're thinking. But then you also obviously have your days where you're like going like, oh, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, this sucks. Like, should I really be doing this? Who cares? I got a 1-year-old. I had a few games of first grade, won a cup grand final. Let's just go get a job.
Yeah.
Like I need to support my family, all those sorts of things. And then obviously you got all the social media stuff as well with players back at pre-season, all that kind of stuff. And you're just like, my missus is like, you're just not yourself kind of thing. Like I can tell that you're like, you're off it. You're a bit snappy, a bit short. Like, how about, like what are we doing here kind of thing,
Wow.
But like I don't want to put words in the mouth. Like fully supportive and wanting me to chase my dream. But
sure, but you got to talk about it at least.
Exactly.
You can't just go, no worries, chase a dream. You got to communicate with each other.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So God love her. She like always supported my dream. But at the end of the day, like you got to support a family as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you ever get concerned about this was being a selfish decision? Ever sit there and go, am I being selfish?
100%. Like I was just like, all right, come on, Scott, like grow up. Like give it away. Like let's just start maybe, go back to the wharfs, getting back on that bandwagon. Like I was, open for that sort of stuff. But then, yeah, my manager said, like, mate, there's a 12-month opportunity at Cronulla. How about we just, take that? And I was like, all for it. So, yeah, started training with the boys again.
And so during that time when you were doing some labouring, were you just doing your own training to stay fit? How did you stay fit?
Yeah, 100%. Even the end of 2020 into 2021, like same sort of boat, like no real opportunity, nothing happening, no contracts. Yes, there was talk about going over to England.
Yep.
But again, nothing really in concrete. Like just that same sort of boat of just like, nothing's happening, And I would have been, I feel like sorry for my manager because I would have just been pestering him.
Yeah.
Like, come on, what's going on? What's the go? But yeah, and then again, just sort of demolition work, just working away, chipping away. And again, training, like just training by myself. I had some really good friends of mine, an ex-school teacher, Andrew Lavelle, who was helping me with weights and training that sort of stuff. And then another friend of mine, Clint Hall, who was helping me with running.
Yep.
But then I'd just go down to Sylvania running track there.
Yep.
So I'd just go down there by myself and just run and just train and make up sessions in my head. And, my manager would call and be like, oh, mate, like this sounds a bit nuts. But like I just did what I had to do. My manager would call and be like, oh, mate, I'm having conversations with the Dragons, just for example.
Yeah.
And so I'd be running track, visualising, like training with their players, beating them, and their coach standing on the sideline and watching me, and that would just make me tick. Like that would just make me go. And then the next conversation, hey mate, I'm talking with, I don't know, the Broncos.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So then I got those players rolling through my head like while I'm training.
Yep.
But look, I had so many like incredible people in my corner helping me through it. But yeah, it's just really just. I started to tell myself, like, this is really what I want to do. Like, I just want to play first grade full stop.
Yep.
Like, I had all the motivational quotes in the world, like up on my wall, like all that sort of stuff to keep me going. But, but then sort of fast forwarding. But, like, coming into the 2021 season, like, it was starting to get to, like early January, mid-January kind of thing. And then it was really starting to be like, okay, nothing's coming, like zero. Again, conversations with overseas, England, all that sort of stuff. And I'm just like, man, I'm just having days where I'm just like, getting watery-eyed. Like, I'm just going like, what is, like, come on. Like,
I just need a chance.
Please.
Just give us a chance.
But, yeah, it was just getting closer and closer to being like, okay, I'm just going to go back to the Wharfs.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we're not talking about that was just one time that happened. This is the third time you've gone into an off-season. At least the second time, you played 14 NRL games, and so I can understand if, let's say you had just played reserve grade and you played solidly, but you didn't make the team of the year, and then you'd almost go, mate, you're a little bit crazy here. Like, you're just playing reserve grade.
And like I knew as well, like I wasn't, by any stretch, like blowing anyone off the park or doing anything incredible. Like this is a kid's a freak or anything like that. But I was just thinking, that sort of stuff. Like, obviously had a few first grade games to my name, that sort of thing. But just the opportunities just went
out. And so what do you reckon it is in your life that's taught you to just hang in there? Because most people at the first time would have given up, the second time, but for the third time with a kid on, like a 1-year-old kid, or by that stage the kid would have been 2 years old.
Yeah, would have been going on,
And you've got a super supportive family, but at the same time, it's like, what do you reckon in your life has given you that kind of trust in yourself to just hang in there?
That's a deep question. Like as you said, I've had so many amazing people in my corner, so much support and so much help. And obviously a beautiful wife that just goes above and beyond for me. But I guess I just sort of, as I said to you, I just kind of, I don't know, made a promise or whatever you want to call it to myself, just to be like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Whether, yes, there's risk and I might kick myself later on in life that I didn't study, I didn't do all that sort of stuff. But I'm like, who cares? Like, this is all I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what people are saying. I don't care what people think. Like, yes, my family are supporting me, but probably thinking at the same time, like, what are you doing, Scott? Like, come on.
Yeah.
But I just did not care. Like, I just did not listen to anyone but myself.
Yeah.
And, just stuck to my training. So if an opportunity came, I'd be ready.
Yeah.
And I just had this absolute desire to play first grade.
Yeah, wow.
Like, I just did not want to do anything else.
Yeah.
I didn't care about anything else. I didn't want to listen to anything else. I just was like, yeah, that's great, but this is what I want to do.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And so you get, and the level of training you would have had to been doing by yourself to stay fit enough so that you could walk into a preseason and not be a complete mess.
Yeah.
Would have been like, look, you can train hard by yourself, but it's nowhere near what preseason is.
Definitely not. No.
So you would have had to been training like super hard just to be able to hang around in preseason. So there's that as well, there's that, not only you're waiting for an opportunity, but you're also dedicating your life to like making sure that you're fit enough to take the opportunity. So Penrith come knocking on the door. When did that happen? Do you remember where you were? What happened?
Yeah. So I've sort of like said this before, like I could just remember it clear as day because I nearly fell over. But anyway, and nothing was promised, but I was just having a little bloke in the driveway, like just pushing his bike around, like just cruising around, just like on my phone, updating emails, trying to update messages, anything from, Sam, manager, and, is there anything out there? Anyway, so he's just like rolling around on his bike, and then my phone rings and it's Sam. I'm like, hey mate, how you going? I'm like, here we go. Like, that's sort of like, I'm just talking to a club, I'm talking to him, I'm just waiting for this, I'm waiting for that.
Yeah.
Trying everything to get me something.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's like, mate, what are you doing this afternoon? And I was like, oh, nothing. Like, I'm just at home. And he's like, do you reckon you could get out at Penrith by 3 o'clock? And I was like, I was just like, what? Like, they've just come off a grand final. I'm like, Penrith? Like, are you serious? So anyway, I was like, oh, like, it'd probably just, part-time gig, cup gig, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, of course I can. Like, 100%. I'll run there. I don't care, So, so then I had a meeting at 3 o'clock that afternoon.
No way.
Yeah.
And so it was with Ivan and that, or?
Yeah, Ivan. So I drive out to the academy. Cameron Serrato sort of like welcomes me in.
Yeah.
Like a few of the boys are finishing training, so they're rolling out. Like I knew like Kurt Catewell.
Yep.
Sort of knew Jamin Seaman to a degree. They've already midway through their preseason. So I'm just going, oh hey boys, how you going? Like what's going on? And Kurt. Capey's just like, oh mate, like how good, like and I'm just like, whoa, like I'm just having a chat, like slow down kind of thing. So yeah, it was nice to see a few familiar faces, and then Cameron Serrato just kind of walked me in, and he was just like, so lovely, like such a welcoming bloke, such a legend. Like walked me in, like the first thing he shows me is the staff, beers and where they have a beer and what they do, and that just kind of like made me like relax a little bit and go, okay, like, it's all good. And, just had a good chat to him and, just saying, oh, mate, same sort of thing. Like, didn't know that you didn't have an opportunity and, it was just the man. And then I roll in and sit in the office with Matt Cameron and Ive and just sit down and just have a chat.
No way.
Yeah, it was really cool.
What point did you go, oh my God, there's a contract here, like, or I'm going to train full time?
Well, I had no idea at that stage. It was more just, I just felt like they were just kind of like feeling me out, and I was listening to them, and, they were kind of being like, what do you see like about Penrith? And I was, same sort of thing. What do you see about me? And just having a bit of a chat, like how you finding things, have you been training, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, they're like, that was basically it. Just thanks guys, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Jump in the car, driving home, nearly home. Phone starts ringing, Matty Cameron. Pull over. Hey, mate, how you going? Hey, Scott, how are you? Yeah, really good, thanks. Mate, listen, welcome to the Panthers. Start, see you on Monday for training or whatever it was. And I was just like what? Like, oh, my God. Like, I just pulled over. I just called him, Mr. straight away, and was just like, they've just given me an opportunity.
The Penrith Panthers just off a grand final.
Crazy, man. Like it was, that was surreal. Like that was like, wow. Like
far out.
Yeah. So.
And what's so interesting is I've listened to Matt Cameron's interview with Graham on the buy round.
Yeah.
And they talk about like the number one priorities of signing a player is fitness and resilience. And like clearly the resilience is clearly there and fitness is there. Just, it all adds up to like they saw exactly what they needed in you, which was a very resilient guy that was willing to stay fit, and then the rest is kind of history.
Thanks, man.
No way, man. I'm just saying what Matt Cameron said, man. Okay, so you rock up and you begin training, and I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming the level of training probably you were like, wow, this is kind of next level, because everyone knows, well, they know now, maybe not then, but everyone knows now Penrith Panthers training is like next level when it comes to intensity and everything. Was that the case or not really?
Yeah, or even before that, even before I get on the field, like I'm going into team meetings and I'm like sitting there, like 1 minute I'm like doing some demolition work, and then I'm sitting there and then I've got boys that are, you know, internationals, Origin boys, you know, I was literally fanboying. Like I was just sitting there going like, there's Nathan, there's Yowie, there's Appy. Like I'm just like, whoa, this is crazy. And then boombox blaring, walk into this team meeting, and I'm like, you know, like I'm like, whoa, like this is overwhelming kind of thing, you know. But it's just, that was just their style. That's just their culture and what they did. And going in and, you know, they're just kind of having like a few meetings and discussing things on the field, and I'm just like, got my book and writing a million things down at once, just trying to keep up and just sort of taking it all in. So that was overwhelming in itself, and I was just like sitting there going like, wow, this is going to be like intense, you know. And then you roll out onto the field, and just their attention to detail, their concentration, their just every little drill, just so much time and so much concentration, and the repetition, that was like what really got me. Like how many repetitions again and again and again and again and again. Like I was just mentally draining as well as physically draining. And just their system, defensively, offensively, their plays, all that sort of stuff. And this was just a very light day, like a very, very light session. And thanks to like Kevin Serrato, who's rolling over and just chatting to me about things and explaining things and making me feel so welcome and understanding it. But I was just there, and then I was like, okay, now I know why they're successful. Wow. Like even though like you look from outside in, and how they like, you know, they'd score a try and they'd jump all over each other, and their camaraderie was just like so attractive. I want to be a part of that. Then I understood. Like, wow, like this is a special team.
Far out. So a week ago you're doing demolitions, and now you're sitting in this juggernaut of a, you know, and little did you know you were just about to be a part of history, like one of the greatest sides ever assembled. It is absolutely bizarre to think, you know, a week before you're doing demolitions, and then a week later you've just joined in my opinion, the greatest side ever be assembled in clubland. I guess what's the next 12 months like for you?
Incredible. Like so crazy. Like obviously just roll into the New South Wales Cup team and start playing with them. And even in their team, I was like this team's incredible. Like their cup team, like all these youngsters, like, and then the coach was Peter Wallace at the time, and just his like approach and the way his demeanour and how he speaks to everyone, and just like was the best. Like I was just going into training, driving from Cronulla, going out to Penrith, but like so happy, like, and just enjoying life, and couldn't care how long the drive was, and you know, everyone just the tolls and the drive and all that crap. I just did not care. Like I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. Like, look at where I am. You know what I mean? That's all I was thinking. Like, this is the best.
Wow.
So I just really enjoying my footy again, enjoying life, playing New South Wales Cup, and then get an opportunity to debut for the club. And who's that against?
I just read it then.
Cronulla. Out at Penrith.
What is going on, bro? What is going on?
I almost felt like I was setting it up or something. Like it was just, crazy, man. And then being able to do that at Penrith against Cronulla. Yeah, so special, man. And then, you know, we spoke about like, you know, getting an opportunity and all that sort of stuff. But when that happened, like to debut for Penrith, that was really like set me off to be like, I'm not letting go of this opportunity, and I'll do whatever it takes to stay in this team.
Wow. And what's, I guess, you know, not only did you make your debut, but then you stay in the side. You play 19 games that year, including the grand final win against South Sydney. I guess it's hard when you're in it. You probably didn't, maybe you did, to sit back and go, wow, look how far I've come. But I guess you're a little bit older now, so that grand final week, did you have time to reflect, or did you say, no, it's all business? I cannot be distracted by reflecting on what's happened in the last 12 months. Didn't care. Like about what had just happened. To a degree. Like obviously, but there was so much going on. Like obviously COVID had happened, getting shipped up to the Sunshine Coast,
being a part of the Sunshine Coast. Like, I think I was like on top of being signed with Penrith and being in Penrith, but then again to be like put in this bubble with Penrith and the team. Like, for me, that was just an absolute blessing.
Yep.
It was a blessing for myself, my wife as well. Like, getting to know all the partners, getting to know all the families. Obviously getting to know Ivan and Beck and their incredible family, and like just everyone and anyone, like and their kids. And I felt like that was just like that was like once in a lifetime. Like that was, I know it was a terrible time for the world, like with what was going on and everybody, but just in terms of like the game and being able to be still playing, like that was just first and foremost, that was unreal. That was surreal. And then to lead into the grand final and play in the grand final and win one, like, man, that was,
At Suncorp too, first ever. Was it the first ever grand final?
I think
Suncorp?
it was. Yeah. Bro, like, incredible, man. Couldn't, like, that's, no words can explain how good that was.
I can only imagine. I guess what's even crazier about the year for you is you sign a 2-year deal as well. And so, like, you get a 2-year deal at the Panthers. When they rang you and said, hey, we'd love to, because I'm assuming you're so used to being left last to re-sign or last to speak to clubs. When they rang you halfway through the year, July 28th, is when you announced it, were you almost like taken aback that my future's already going to be sorted, like this early in the season kind of thing?
100%. Like, I was just like, where do I sign? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
And like my manager's like, whoa, slow down. Like, let's see what we can do here, obviously. Like, but I was just like, couldn't care less. Yeah. Like, in all seriousness, don't care about money, don't care about anything. If I have that security, again, young family, a place I absolutely love.
Yep.
I could not care what the figure is.
Yeah.
2 years, let's go.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, 100%, man. That was just like so good.
Okay, so in the grand final though, what do you remember from the grand final day and all that kind of stuff?
Never been so nervous in my life. And just like thinking of the team, like our team, I felt like our team was like put together with tape. Like it was I feel like it goes sort of unnoticed a little bit, or it doesn't really get brought up as much as I feel like it should. Like how busted we were, like our team.
Didn't Dylan always have a broken foot?
Yeah, like he had a boot, like pretty much right up to the game. And then like it was just so many people like covered with so much tape and so much everything, and like to do what we did and have such a tight game and finish it at 14-12 and to beat South, who were red hot again that year, mate, that day was just unbelievable. Like, you feel like you're playing at 8 o'clock at night, but the day just goes so quick and you're trying to take it all in. You're trying to be present. You're trying to hang out with the boys, but it's just, it was just such a crazy day but the best. Crazy, but the best, if that makes sense. And then, rolling into that game and finishing it. And when the final hooter went, you could just see obviously the emotion of losing the year before. But then, running out there and enjoying that was, it's just the absolute best. And I think that's definitely probably my favourite, being the first. It was, unreal, man. Do
what do you remember from the game? Like, was it the intercept? Was it?
Of course. Like, the whole, is he away with the premiership with, Critter? That was unbelievable. But there was so many times during the game where we're just like on our line and, and then kicking the goal. And I just remember like just 14-12, like we just need to hold him out. And I think it might have been like Yowie or Dill, like in the last like few seconds of the game, like holding the ball and like it's just, man, it was just so crazy. And to think like just like moments where like, Dill's in a boot and then he's coming up with try-saving tackles as well. Like, man.
Yeah, like, Murray breaks a break.
He's a freak. But just things like that. You just remember like little bits and pieces and it was such an incredible experience.
And for you personally, like this year, like you saw the beginnings of it. I think even 2022, you took it even further. But like you really became an impact player, and like you really, it seemed like every time you got on the field, you knew exactly what your job was. Like you knew what you were supposed to bring to the side. Was that something that you kind of cultivated with the coaching staff, where they said, "Mate, this is what we want you to be specifically for us"?
Yeah, mate. Like again, a lot of credit definitely goes to, like, obviously Ivan, and Cameron Serrato and Webby at the time, who just pretty much kept it so simple for me.
Yeah.
But just in saying that as well, just the belief they trust. Like, I feel like that's sort of doesn't get spoken as much as it probably should be. Like, how much belief from your coach gives you confidence to do what you do.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking, you're just doing.
You're just doing, yeah.
You know, so, and that just like allows you to do your job and just keep it so simple. And whatever my role was at the time, I didn't care. Again, if it was 1 minute or 80, just go out there and nail your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is definitely one of the unique things when I was under Wayne at the Broncos. You know, when it was all happening, I didn't realise it. It wasn't until I'd maybe been at some other clubs and, you know, had some other experiences, I realised, like, when I was playing for Wayne, it wasn't anything crazy. It was just he just made me feel like he believed in me.
Yeah.
Like, I just, whenever I went out in the field, I was like, oh, Wayne backs me. He thinks I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know, he actually thinks I'm good.
Yeah.
Whereas some other coaches, and it's no knock on them, it's probably my fault for not being as open from it. But like, you go out and you play, and all you're thinking is like, oh, I hope I'm good enough.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Or if you're making a mistake or an error, you're kind of like thinking like, oh God, they're gonna spray me for that. They're gonna be off me for that.
Yeah.
They're gonna be, oh my God, you know, video on Monday or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, where this, like, when you got someone that just believes you, that when you do make a mistake, yes, you're filthy on yourself. Yes, they might be filthy on you, but they know that you are trying your best to nail your job.
For sure.
So it's just kind of like, okay, I stuffed that up. Let's get on with it.
Yep.
Let's just keep going. Worry about that later.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then
absolutely.
that just allows you to be free and play your game.
For sure. And like all those like little decisions that you would usually hesitate at because you're not confident, you no longer hesitate because you're like, for me anyway, it was like, Wayne thinks I'm good. Like he loves what I do, so I'm going to do it.
And I can't like not go like, look at the boys that are around me, like the team around me, like, wow, like, you know, like I can't just be like, I did my job so well by myself. Like I had so much help around me.
For
and
sure.
obviously, like, you know, the team was just helped me do my job as well. So, you know, I can't not mention the boys as well. They're, you know.
And so the next year though, you play 24 games, and you score a try in a grand final. Bro, what is happening?
I don't know. Oh, man. It's it's just dreams come true, man.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, it's just crazy. And you know, like, another thing that, like, no one forgets, like, yes, like, I probably scored the most simple try ever. Like, I literally just ran through, picked the ball up and dove over. Like, yes, it's in a grand final, it's awesome. But, like, you look at the play leading up to that, like, we have a crack, like, Nat kicks it with his left foot.
Yeah, crazy.
Like, for me, that's like, wow.
The big
you know what I
play,
mean? Like, he gets to the ball, skips across, puts it on his left foot, and I'm just like, that doesn't even get spoken about, you know? And, yeah, that was just crazy. And I think it, like, ended up being, like, it was, like, down with all the Penrith fans as well. And I was just like, am I dreaming? Like, this is crazy, you know? It's
really?
crazy. Such a cool feeling, man. And then, obviously, to finish back-to-back there as well, and the performance we put on that night.
So dominant.
It was again, just dreams come true, man. Just the absolute best feeling. So cool.
And the crazy thing is, it gets even better. That same year, you make your debut for your country, and you play in the World Cup. That was the first time you played for New Zealand?
Yes.
And, like, again, you know, you're sitting there going, I'm wearing the famous, you know, black and white jersey. I get to play in a World Cup.
Yeah.
I guess, what was that feel? When did you find out that you'd be playing for your country or at least part of the squad?
Yeah. Firstly, like, I'm not in the Kiwi space without the Panthers.
Yeah.
Like, I completely, like, believe that. Like, I know I'm not playing for the Kiwis if I'm not at Penrith. So, firstly, like, I want to say that. So thank you, Penrith. But, I was sort of like having a conversation with Michael Maguire, but when he was coaching at the Tigers to potentially go there. Like, he was talking to me about coming to the Tigers. But then I was like, you know, thank you so much. But, you know, obviously I want to stay at Penrith. This is where I want to be. But if, you know, I just kind of joked to him just lightheartedly, you know, if there's a spot with the Kiwis, I'd love to jump at that. You know, and he just laughed it off as well. He was like, oh, cheers, mate. You know, I'll keep that in mind.
Yep.
And, like, in all seriousness, I just left it at that. Like, didn't even blink an eyelid, just left it at that. anyway, so we're just coming into the back end of the year come finals time, and my Madge called me and said, listen, mate, like I've thrown your name in the hat for the Kiwis. I'm not making any promises just yet, but your name's getting tossed up for the Kiwis. Would you be open to it? And I was like, 100% I'd be open to it, most definitely. And then, it's kind of obviously got the back end of the year and come finals time, and Madge is like, look, I understand you've got to focus on finals, but, I've got to put a team together here, and I'd love you to be in the team, and I was just like what? to be in the Kiwi space, and, how many good players they get to pick from, and even just to be in the squad, I was, blown away. And, the whole squad came out. I think, there might have been like 30 or 35 or something. So, again, I was just kind of like, oh, that's awesome to be named in that. And then, officially got the call that I'd be representing the Kiwis at the World Cup. And, that was surreal. That was, again, just another moment where you're like, what, is this actually happening? Like, this is really, really cool. And then, as I said earlier, like growing up, sort of following, the stories of Dane and Kurt and my grandfather and that sort of stuff, representing the Kiwis, and then to being given a call and be like, mate, would you like to play for the Kiwis? Like, that was just like, wow, like this is crazy. And
especially how hard you have to work to get there.
Even then, I just remember my dad pulling up in the driveway. He came to my place that afternoon. I just said, I'll pop round, see my young fella, whatever. And he's pulled in, and I'm just like, Dad, like, I've just got to tell you, like, I've just been picked to play for the Kiwis. And the old boy just broke down, So that was, a very special time, and absolutely loved the campaign. It was, unbelievable. But like coming off the grand final, then flying straight over, I was a bit like all over the shop and just trying to get my bearings the first few days. Like I was a bit like, I don't even want to be here. Like, I've just won a grand final, but it was, some of the best times ever, mate. And to do that meant so much to me and so much to my family.
And do you remember your debut in the jersey?
Yeah, 100%. We played Jamaica.
Yep.
And come up with a really, really good win. It was awesome, mate. And to stand there and do the anthem, and then obviously head over and do the hukka and all that sort of stuff. For me, it was just like I've seen this like as a kid so much, and to be able to actually be standing here and doing it, it was very special, mate.
So good, so good.
Special.
I've got to ask you, mate, because I'm in a bit of a similar pickle right now. So my son happened to be born in New South Wales. Technically, he's a Queenslander because I've got that officially. And so me being a proud Queenslander, obviously it stings me to think that he would potentially go for New South Wales. However, I hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, your son, born in Australia, what's going to happen?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I mean, I was born in Australia, but, I always had that sort of, obviously family tie towards the Kiwis in New Zealand. And it's really special that, I'm glad you asked, because my son's sort of at an age now where he's really starting to understand, like he's 5 now, and he's starting to understand, the Kiwis are the black and white, and Samara are the blue, and Tonga are the red. And, obviously with the Panthers boys all sort of spread across those countries, there's Romy, and there's, that sort of stuff. And then my wife, having a Māori background as well. So, I guess he's got Aussie blood, Māori blood, Tongan blood, Kiwi blood.
No way.
Take your pick. So sign him up.
Sign him up. Surely someone.
Surely someone. That's right. So, we'll see where he goes. But, whatever he wants to do when he's older, it's all good.
Of course. So you play in the World Cup, and then, the next year, in round 9, you play your 50th NRL game. So we're talking about you made your debut in 2014. 2014, you made that debut, and it took you until nearly a decade to play 50 NRL games. It might sound silly that you would celebrate like it's just a 50th NRL game, but for you, the journey of that 50 games is very different to a lot of other people. A lot of people, they get it in their first 3 years, and it's almost a natural progression. Was it a big deal to you at all, or was it just, business as usual, I'm just here to focus on the game?
It's more just,
Just business as usual?
It was, to be honest. Like, I was probably just thinking like more so I just want to play well and do well for my team. Yep. It wasn't really like, it was a little bit just kind of like, it is an achievement. And it shouldn't be like sort of like looked over or anything like that.
Yep.
for any player.
Yeah. But
You
when
know,
you're in the bubble,
one game's hard enough.
Yeah,
But
for
as
sure.
you said, when you're in the rugby league world
Yep.
and that sort of thing, like 50 is kind of like congratulations. But I feel like it's almost like the same as like cricket. Like, they get their 50 and they're kind of like,
sweet.
like thanks, like kind of thing in a way. Like as I said, it shouldn't be like sort of looked over, but it was more just business as usual.
Yeah, it's similar to when people go, oh man, like what was it like playing with Darren Lockyer?
Yes.
And always when you're actually playing with him, you're like, he's just a teammate. Like he's just one of the boys.
Yeah.
And it's not until you leave the game and you quit where you look back on it and you go, man, I got to play with Darren Lockyer.
Yeah,
and I know that the 50 game is a little bit different because like, it's not 100 or whatever. But I just think your journey is so unique. Like it just, that 50th game is such an example of perseverance. Like a lot of people would almost take the 50 game for granted, whereas you've had to work so hard to get to that point and you've achieved actually so much in so little in that game. So it's just I don't know, it's a good lesson for people out there that might be listening, whether they're a young fella or a young girl, of just perseverance, like it's such a good story of like just hanging in there. Anyway, I'm just inspired,
Thanks,
mate. I'm inspired.
Appreciate it. I don't know what to say.
I love that. Yeah, it's very. I get it. Right.
Thanks,
Okay, so that year, it gets even better. You guys go on and you play in one of the greatest grand finals of all time. Obviously, me being a Broncos man, it hurts my heart to talk about it.
Yeah.
But for you personally, I guess in that year, where's your head at this point? Because you've definitely moved past the stage of like, not just happy to be there, but like the first couple of years, I'm assuming it's like, man, I'm just here. How good is it? And I'm assuming you're kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, I am a first grader now and I need to almost take another step and be even a better version of myself. What was this year like for you?
Again, another year evolving. 2022 like finished off, and then we found out Vilami was leaving, Kicks was leaving, and like to me it was just like, oh, like who's going to fill that spot kind of thing. And then we signed Luke Gardner, and he started off there and did an incredible job. And again, I was just coming in and making sure I was nailing my job for the team in 2023. And then the evolvement, want to mention as well, like Mitch Kenny coming in there and taking the reins off Appy as well. Was a huge, I guess, a bit of a shift as well in the team. And again, just as to today, blossomed and done an incredible job.
Because that opens a bench spot up with Kenny going into that 9 role.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So again, like you look at all the boys that we talk about, boys that leave, but then the boys that get opportunities and people that come into the team is just is exciting. Then it kind of spoke to Ive about he spoke to me about potentially going on to the edge and playing a little bit of edge. So then I sort of rolled into that. So that was sort of like the transition for me, rolling onto the edge from the middle in 2023. And
so I guess being a starter now, like, did you enjoy having that extra responsibility?
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. It just showed me as well that like, yes, there's still fire in the belly. Yes, I'm still hungry. Yes, I want to win. And then I want to do my job for the team, and then building that connection and like just the camaraderie with my left edge and Jerome and all that sort of stuff, and getting a bit of a different role, which was exciting. Yeah. And loved the challenge to go in there on the left edge.
And so you go on the left edge, and you guys make another. I reckon it got to probably around 20, where I think it became really clear it was between you and Brisbane. And granted, you still had some games to win, and I'm sure you guys didn't think that yourselves. But as the rugby league community kind of looked at Penrith and Broncos and were like, I think these guys are destined to face each other in the grand final. I guess what was that final series like? And, again, it was just such a unique challenge because Brisbane were the young hot shots, and they were on fire, and they got all these rep players now.
Incredible.
What was it like?
They were just electric.
Yeah.
Like they are electric. So much speed, so much strike, and a number 7 that just is an incredible player. And then a massive powerful, beg your pardon, forward pack as well. Like seriously, they were unbelievable. They are unbelievable. Coming out of that final series, I remember we had the prelim against Melbourne. You think like Jerome's done his shoulder as well in that during that time. It was that coming in that prelim. I reckon I don't know why. Don't know why. But coming that prelim in 2023 against Melbourne, I'd never been so nervous. You know.
Yeah, okay.
And then like obviously getting a really good result there, and then rolling into the Broncos game, I was like this is going to be tough. This is going to be hard. They were on fire. They were red hot. And we knew they were dangerous. So again, it's just this is going to be a hard game. This is going to be a real challenge. We had to obviously prepare really, really well because they've, when we say they got strike all over the field, they literally had strike all over the field. Yeah. It was an exciting challenge, but definitely one we needed to be ready for.
And so the first half rolls around and you guys dominate field position, and the Broncos, they just look not rattled, but they're just making silly errors. But at the same time, when the halftime whistle goes, you actually look up and you're actually not as ahead as maybe you should have been with the field position. Yeah. Do you remember that first half feeling at all?
And then the Flegler scored just before half time.
Just on half time.
Yeah, you could kind of feel like, we had all this possession and we're really testing them and down on their try line. And I don't know, I kind of like sort of walking into half time is sort of it's not clicking or anything like that, but like it was just like, why aren't we in a better position, I guess you could say, So, so going into half time and then come out the second half. And then they just turned it on, didn't they? They were, as I said before, on fire, electric. Mam, Walsh, their forwards are just rolling. They were incredible, mate. They were so good.
And I guess, what were you thinking when they're 18-0 up and there might be 15 minutes to go or something like that, or whatever the time was? Were you out in the field at this stage still, or did you play 80 that game?
I got a head knock, so I just had to come off
for 10. So played
a quick trek. Good. Like 10 minutes or something, whatever it was. And then I remember, like obviously Yowie having a head knock, and he's gone off, and I'm just like what is going on? Like this is crazy. And then obviously Rome had to come off as well, and Jack Coggs comes on, and then you're behind your try line, and then you're behind your try line again, then you're behind your try line again. And you're just like what's going on? Like this isn't how it should be. And like this is a bad dream. Like all those thoughts are going through your head. But in saying that as well, it's so crazy. Like all those thoughts are going through your head, but then you're still positive. So you're going into the huddle behind the line, and everyone's just kind of sharing their thoughts, and Yoey's saying what he reckons, and Nat, and we just had to get back on the same page, everybody, and just play some footy. Yep. Like if we're going to go down, let's go down swinging. So so then obviously we rolled out, and like obviously Nat was just incredible. Yeah. Critter was incredible. Yoey comes back out. So many of the boys just were great. I feel like, Jack Cogger did an incredible job coming off the bench, and Nathan being Nathan, and it was an incredible way to finish. It was something very special, and obviously something we'll talk about for a very long time.
Incredible. So you always had belief, but when did it start to go, we're in this? Like we are, like because you got the Moses Leota try, and then you got the Critter incredible one-on-one on Stags, But when do you just start going, okay, this is no longer a situation where like, we need to score 3 tries in 10 minutes. We're 1 try away from them and we have momentum. When do you reckon that kind of feeling of like, we've got the momentum here? Because for me as a Broncos fan, like even the first Moses try, I started going, I don't know here. Like this is not, I don't feel right here. It feels like there's a re-energized Penrith side coming back at the moment.
I don't feel like there was a moment or anything like that. I just feel like we just played. Yeah, okay. Like, okay, scoreboard is what it is. Yep. Clock is what it is. Like, let's just play and give ourselves a chance. Let's just do what we do. Let's stick to our system, that was obviously directing us around the field, as well as Jack Cogger doing a great job. And it's just as I said, just going down swinging, and managed to do that. And everyone just, obviously the belief starts to grow, confidence starts to grow, and that goes through the whole team. You start running a bit harder, you start chasing the ball a little bit harder, and then the Prince comes up with the magic at the end. Well, not even at the end, but like the whole second half. Like he's just turned it on.
And so at the end of the game, you achieve an offload by Reece Walsh. So you jump on the ball when it's pretty much that's it then.
Yeah.
What's that feeling like when you jump on that ball?
Oh, hold on to the thing. Like, don't let it go anywhere. But yeah, I feel like, that was a moment where you think, okay, we've got this. Yeah, like you touched on before, when was the moment, like that you feel like, all right, we're starting to get this. It was more like, no, like we have to keep going till the whistle blows.
Yeah.
And I grabbed that. I was just at the right place at the right time.
Yep.
Grabbed the ball, just hit the deck, like hold on to the thing like gold. And then a few of the other boys just went to clock runs. I don't even think we believed it at the time.
Yeah.
Like, we just kind of, how did we do that? Like that was crazy. It was, mate. Yeah, that was unbelievable. I don't know. Yeah, you can't put that into words.
You just can't, because it's
unbelievable.
A lifetime away from, a few years ago. Now you're diving on the ball, the last play of one of the greatest grand finals of all time. Like, I still just can't get that in my head. I just can't get in the head that like 3 years ago you were struggling for a contract and now you're having that moment. So the siren goes. He's won the third grand final in a row.
Mate, crazy. So unbelievable. As I said before, and I'll say it again, there's just no better feeling than winning a GF. Like, yes, it might have been our third, but just, winning the grand finals is just the absolute goal, absolute dream. And again, the relief, the emotions, all the hard work, everything. Yeah, mate, it was just crazy and so good.
Yep.
And then obviously like being Critter's last game, Spenny's last game, like it just feel like it's just kind of been happening the last few years. Like, you lose one or two and just, giving them a cuddle and sending them out on a good note as well. It was, so good, man. It's just the best. I don't know what more to say. There's no better feeling.
Oh, man. I think, like, again, the 4 premierships in a row, who would have thought, for you personally, obviously, like there's such a journey. You're signed till 27?
26.
26.
Yeah.
I guess. And did you sign that last year, that extension?
Correct, yeah.
So that would have been a 3-year deal?
Yes.
3-year deal, you're laughing.
Oh, I know. Like, seriously, like, still pinching myself. It's, crazy, man. And, very, very special time, obviously, for myself at the club, but to be a part of that. And, for Ivan and, Matty Cameron to sit me down and be like, here's a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
Mate, just that meant absolute world.
Have you ever had a chance to have a convo with Matt Cameron or Ivan just about the journey? Or, as I said, sometimes when you're in the bubble, you don't actually think about it.
Yeah.
Do they ever throw back to that meeting they had in the mid-January? Where
sometimes, we talk about it. Yeah, like, just lightheartedly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, can you believe, when you walked in my office,
Yeah.
where you are now. But, I feel, I don't know. I feel like it's something, obviously, we'll talk more.
When you end of footy kind of thing.
Like when we're finished.
For sure.
But just really enjoying the ride now, man. And as I said before, I'm so grateful to the club, grateful to the coach, for everything they've given me. As I touched on before, if I'm not there, I'm not playing with those boys. I'm not in the international scene, and that's just the truth.
Yeah.
And to be doing what I do as a job, where I am with a group of boys that I absolutely love, I'm absolutely blessed, mate. I'm so grateful and just love it.
Yeah. And mate, ask all the boys this, and if you're not a rap man, you can just say what your favourite artist is, but favourite rapper of all time.
Oh my God. Great question, because I listen to a lot of music driving to and from Penrith.
Yep.
Greatest rapper of all time. I don't know. That's a few up there. I'm just going to throw up Eminem.
Eminem?
Yeah. He goes all right.
Bro, everyone says Eminem, bro. Everyone says Eminem. Who's your favourite music artist then?
Favourite music artist?
Or you just kind of anything, just whatever, chuck on the pop mix and good to go.
Yeah, so because obviously we do a lot of drying. So me and Izo, he wanted me to mention him as well. So
Matt Izo,
big sauce, yeah. But we just go through that many genres. So some days rock and roll, other days R&B, other days pop. So I can't really just give you one off the top of my head.
Fair enough.
We literally cover all genres of music.
And
we love everything. So
favourite movie of all time?
Favourite movie of all time? Probably a comedy one, I don't know, Superbad or Step Brothers or something like that. Like, you can't go past those sorts of movies. Just a light-hearted laugh, man. Something with comedy. Yeah, love it.
Step Brothers, I'll never forget when I first watched that. How I couldn't stop laughing.
I know.
I couldn't stop laughing.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. And so many quotes, and they still just live on today. You know how many years the movie's moved on. So probably something like that.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Mate, thank you so much for coming on. What an incredible journey. It just blows my mind. Blows my mind.
that.
I can't wait to see you guys go around next year.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.